Chairman, in my 30 years experience as a police commander, working the streets, working with federal task forces, I always focus on the most violent offenses, violent offenders. My team and I were involved in hundreds of felony criminal investigations ranging from drug trafficking, weapons, and shootings.
And we appreciate your service, as I started out by saying, but the question I have is, do you believe that all laws should be enforced or just some laws?
Either laws are passed by legislation, law enforcement has the discretion to enforce those laws. And I prioritize enforcing the most violent offenses, make sure communities are safe.
Welcome back to Right View Nation, where we expose the truth the mainstream media refuses to touch. If you're tired of the lies, tired of the open border nonsense, and ready to stand up for real American values, hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment your thoughts below, and share this with every red-blooded patriot you know. Let's dive in. Folks, what we just heard in this latest Senate testimony is yet another confirmation of what we've been screaming from the rooftops for years. Illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. It's not a civil infraction. It's not just people seeking a better life. It's a direct violation of federal law, and more importantly, a direct assault on the American working class, our law enforcement, our economy, and our national security.
Clarify just a few things. Ms. Fleischhaker, do you believe that everybody who is all individuals who are under final orders of deportation should actually be deported?
I believe that people with final orders of removal have gone through the legal process and then are eligible for removal, for deportation.
You don't think they should be deported, or you do think they should be deported?
I think that those are the people who can be removed. Those are the people who should be removed.
So there actually are some illegal aliens who should be deported. How about convicted criminals? Should they be deported?
Undocumented convicted criminals, those are the people who I think we should be prioritizing for removal.
Okay. Mr. Avila, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about otherwise law-abiding individuals who violate our immigration laws and come into the United States. First of all, illegal entry into the United States is a crime, is it not?
That's right. We call it EWI, entry without inspection. That's a violation of 8 U.S.C. 1325.
And in your lengthy experience in law enforcement and dealing with the border, is that the only law that people who illegally enter the country violate?
No, it depends how you enter, when you enter, how many times you've entered and been encountered. There's very different types of removal. I think we overuse the term deportation, but believe it or not, most people, most illegals in this country are removed without a deportation order. There's expedited removals, there's voluntary returns, there's many different types of removals. The actual deportations are executed by an immigration judge under that order.
So in addition to illegal entry, is it your experience that many individuals who enter the country illegally engage in identity theft?
Oh my goodness, I conducted so many fraud cases, including Social Security cards, identity theft. I have a twin sister. She was a victim of identity theft by a female illegal alien while she was in law school. It was so much time and such a hard effort to gain her identity back that the Social Security Administration actually issued her a new Social Security number, and that's very difficult to do. Many times, we're talking about marriage frauds, passport frauds. I conducted many search warrants where I found many documents, fraudulent documents, where these organizations, visas, and you name it. So yes, especially in the employment capacity, where these employers are denying knowledge, and they hide behind that when they say, well, the illegal did provide me with an actual Social Security number or an ID. It happens to belong to someone else or someone that doesn't exist altogether.
And do individuals who enter the country illegally and engage in identity theft or perhaps have forged Social Security cards and the like, do they typically comply with other laws like federal tax laws and
No.
other laws, or In other words, my point is that is there such a thing as a person who enters a country illegally who does not violate any other laws?
No, typically there's other violations of law that sometimes the Democrats refer to as civil infractions or civil administrative, and that's, I think there's a big confusion between the criminal violation of law versus the civil violation of immigration law. The Democrats seem to convolute it and make it into one, which is very, very different, and they commit a lot of different criminal and civil violations amongst after they come in, whether failure to have even drivers or vehicle insurance, things like that, right? That matter in my state of Texas, why our rates are so high, emergency room costs, many, many other economic impacts throughout the U.S.
Dr. Veliz, I certainly respect your public service. Thank you for that. I wanted to ask you, though, based on your testimony, I was wondering, do you believe all laws should be enforced or just some of the laws?
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, in my 30 years experience as a police commander, working the streets, working in with federal task forces, I always focus on the most violent offenses, violent offenders. My team and I were involved in hundreds of felony criminal investigations ranging from drug trafficking, weapons, and shootings.
And we appreciate your service, as I started out by saying, but the question I have is, do you believe that all laws should be enforced or just some laws?
Either laws are passed by legislation, law enforcement has the discretion to enforce those laws. And I prioritize enforcing the most violent offenses, make sure communities are safe.
Don't they frequently, in your experience in law enforcement, call that selective prosecution? To just go after some cases, but not other cases of similarly situated persons who violate the same law?
Chairman Carlin, I saw it as discretionary powers of sworn officers that I have, the discretion to select the most violent offenses and focus on the most violent offenders in the communities.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a vote on, so I'm going to turn the mic over to Senator Cruz here momentarily. I just want to thank all of you for being here today and offering your testimony. And again, to Ms. Nobles and Ms. Vega, if you have our condolences. And I think we've had a test case between what happens when you enforce our immigration laws, which we've seen under President Trump, and what happens when you don't enforce the immigration laws on a uniform basis under President Biden. But I thank all of you for being here, and I'll turn the floor over to Senator.
Let's break it down. We had government officials and law enforcement veterans sit there and flat out admit that yes, illegal aliens with final deportation orders should be removed. Sounds like common sense, right? Then why is the Biden regime refusing to enforce those orders? Why are sanctuary cities shielding people who've already had their day in court? Why are we putting their feelings above the rule of law? One of the key testimonies was about undocumented immigrants with criminal convictions. The witness admitted, yes, those people should be prioritized for removal. Well, here's a newsflash. That should include every last one who's broken our laws to be here in the first place. It's not just about the violent felons. It's about the fake marriages, the fake social security numbers, the stolen identities, the unpaid taxes, the uninsured drivers on our roads, and the burden they dump onto our emergency rooms and public schools. One law enforcement officer gave a chilling account. His own sister had her identity stolen by an illegal alien while she was in law school. She had to fight the system for years, eventually being forced to get a brand new social security number. Think about that. In our own country, a citizen had to erase her own ID because of our government's failure to protect her. Disgraceful. Then we heard this insane liberal talking point get blown out of the water. The idea that there are otherwise law-abiding illegal immigrants. That somehow crossing the border is the only law they broke. Total nonsense. You heard it right from the border experts. Illegal entry is a federal crime, and that's just the beginning. Multiple reentries? More crimes. Using someone else's social security number? That's identity theft. Lying on a job application? That's fraud. Getting paid under the table? That's tax evasion. So let me ask again, where exactly is this mythical law-abiding illegal alien? Another bombshell came from a seasoned police commander. He admitted that law enforcement picks and chooses which laws to enforce, prioritizing violent crime. Now listen, I get it. You want to focus on the worst offenders. But when we selectively enforce immigration laws, it tells lawbreakers, come on in, we're not going to bother with you unless you kill someone. That's not justice. That's an open invitation to chaos. We either have laws or we have lawlessness. And here's the final gut punch. We are now living in two different Americas. The one we had under President Trump, where immigration laws were actually enforced, and the one we have now under Joe "Borderless" Biden, where lawbreakers are rewarded and citizens are ignored. Under Trump, ICE was empowered. The wall was going up. Catch and release was being dismantled. Under Biden, we've got cartels running the show, fentanyl pouring in, and cities like New York and Chicago begging for relief from the migrant crisis they created with their own insane sanctuary policies. This is Right View Nation, and we will never stay silent while our country is being dismantled from the inside out. If you believe in law and order, in protecting American citizens first, and in holding our government accountable, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. Let the radical left know we're not backing down. God bless you, God bless our Border Patrol agents, and God bless the United States of America. United States. This is Right View Nation, where the truth still matters. Stay loud, stay proud, stay free.